everybody. Welcome, everyone, to episode 10, the final episode in the Ganbatte series. I'm going to take a week off after this, and we're going to get into some guest speakers, which is going to be awesome. Some people we're going to chat to about the mindset and how it got them through different things in their life. However, let's wrap this one up now. So this final episode in the series is to do with gratitude and positivity. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about the warm fuzzies that tend to piss people off at times, doesn't it? When you just want to be annoyed at something or you just want to be angry at something and you've got little Miss Positivity telling you to, adjust your attitude, look on the bright side, whatever. And you feel like saying, you know what, just let me be annoyed right now. I'm not talking about that situation because I agree that's a bit annoying, and a whole nother episode can be done on how important it is to feel the full range of emotions, and we should not be suppressing any of them, to be honest. However, I digress. Moving back around to gratitude and positivity and what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about gratitude in a sense of practicing it. And when I say practice, I mean like you do a sport, like you do if you're learning a new language or, trying to get fit or learning anything, you have to practice it. Gratitude is the same. The reason we need to practice gratitude is because it's not a quick fix. It's not just makes you feel better on the day. It's a long game. Because what you're doing when you practice gratitude is you're rewiring, you're reprogramming parts of your brain. So our brain, it's wired to be on the lookout for shit that could, be potentially harmful to us. And this is a survival mechanism that has been around for ages. If you go back a long way, our brains get trained by us to be on the lookout, to scan our environment and be on the lookout for what we need, what we don't need, what we want, what we don't want. It's about survival. However, now we don't necessarily need to be scanning the environment all the time for survival, do we? We're not always in survival mode. That a lot of the time we're quite safe. And so what practicing gratitude does is it flicks and retrains that to then scan the environment for things that are good for us. And the only way we can train our mind to do that is to practice it. And so what I want you to do, what we all can do, is every day practice pointing out to yourself things to be grateful for. Good things. I know initially it sounds kind of silly and you think, oh, okay, I'm grateful that, it's a sunny day. I'm grateful that I have a good hot cup of tea this morning. I'm grateful that my family are all healthy, safe, happy. Okay, great. I've done my gratitude work for the day. However, you will notice that just naming 5 things that you're grateful for. And if you do that consistently every day, you will be starting to reprogram your mind to notice, to scan the environment looking for good stuff. Because isn't this the thing? When you might notice lots of crappy things, the point is those crappy things, they were always there. You just perhaps didn't notice them before because of your mood. You and a friend might both go to a restaurant for dinner and one of you has a great meal, the food's hot, love your drink, people all around you seem to be happy, it's a great ambiance, the service was good. Whilst your friend, their food was a bit cold, it was bland, didn't have enough salt on it, the drink was weak or had too much ice, people around were talking too loud, the waiter was just rude. You're in the same environment. So how are you noticing different things? How are you perceiving things so differently? Because the way that you scan and perceive the environment is based upon your mindset. And your mindset also adjusts your physiology as well, doesn't it? So if you're feeling sluggish and tired, often your body will reflect that. Your mind gets in line with that. And that is going to affect how you see your world and how you interpret it as well. So, as I said, positivity, gratitude, it's not about seeing the world through rose-colored glasses. It's about accepting what you can be grateful for and putting more emphasis on that than the negative. You can have both. You can wake up in the morning after a terrible night's sleep. You can be tired. I feel really tired. And I'm so grateful, though, that I have the strength and tenacity that's going to get me through this day. So you can choose to flip that even though something might be negative around you, you're in a terrible situation at the moment, or you just feel like crap. Exactly. It's not about ignoring that or trying to pretend it doesn't exist, because it does. It's choosing what you're going to put your energy and focus into, though. Because what you focus on, where you direct your energy, that's what you're going to get more of. And unfortunately, oftentimes when we already have a bit of a negative mindset, I use this as an example, where you've had a terrible night's sleep. Perhaps you got woken up a lot or something like that, And so you wake up in the morning feeling like you haven't really slept. You already feel a bit behind the eight ball. Perhaps you're running a bit late. You really want a coffee. Your coffee tastes like crap. You don't want to pay for one. So you're really focusing on negative aspects. Then suddenly you notice how bad the drivers are in your town or your city. Suddenly you notice how slow the traffic lights are. Suddenly you notice that there's no good parking spots around where you work. You see where I'm going with this. You notice that the people around you are a little bit grumpier than they usually are, or something like that. You're starting to perceive your world, and your mind is scanning and perceiving those things based on your mindset that you put in place in the beginning of the day. So gratitude work is about reprogramming that mindset so that your brain learns to scan for and focus on things that are good for you. And this takes practice. So every day, 5 things. And yes, they may start out being quite what seem to be mundane things. I'm grateful that my beautiful old dog can still walk behind me when I'm videoing. I'm grateful that I have the time to make this podcast. I'm grateful that I live somewhere that has fantastic weather. These things may seem unimportant. However, you're building the muscle. You're building those brain muscles that are going to allow your mind to notice more of the good than the negative, which is going to help you improve your life, improve your outlook, and feel happier more of the time. So I trust that makes sense. Really, I guess in a nutshell, what I'm saying is that to change the way you interpret the world, if you want to see the world differently, then you have to adjust your mindset, because that's where it starts. It's all in the interpretation. It's like that, that meme, the two people on the bus, and one person on the bus is seeing a beautiful view and the other person on the bus is just seeing a rock face. Make of it what you will. I'm going to use it in this instance to simply say that a change in your perspective will give you a different view. It's as simple as that. So if you don't like what you're looking at every day, it's not about changing the external environment. It's about changing the internal environment, your mindset, because that's where you are giving everything meaning. Trust that makes sense. Let me know if you've got any questions or any thoughts on that. As I said, I'm going to take a week off now to do some planning, and then we're going to come back with the Inside the Mindset series, which is going to be really cool. I look forward to you joining me there. Otherwise, have an amazing week. Practice your gratitude, and I'll see you all again soon.